What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with an original biofuel challenge video for you all. I know a lot of people have been asking in regards to making these new videos in regards to the difficulty 4 and difficulty 5 now for teal gear being unlocked. So hopefully my videos can help you guys out here. But before we get started, I just wanted to quickly show you my roster in terms of the characters that I used and what you can expect to bring. Hopefully the strategy and insight is able to help you guys progress further. But starting things off, yeah, Phylavel, this is how high I've built her. If I've used her, you'll see that I bring her on in one of the notes. So just her overall protection is really nice. And again, she's used as one of my characters right now in Dark Dimension 5. So that is why she is as strong as she is. Part of that Infinity Watch meta too. Gold Spider, without a doubt, one of the better characters here, just because she can spread negative conditions. She's got an ability block. She's part of that pivotal Web Warriors meta right now with the bio nodes, especially in the Doom 2, Doom 3 raids. I bring on Squirrel Girl as the main healer for protection. She's got offense down, she can cleanse, so that's been huge. Also part of that Young Avengers meta that's needed for the Legendary Horsemen of Famine. So just keep that in mind. You guys will be investing in her pretty well. We got Miss Marvel also synergizing with Squirrel Girl, being part of that Young Avengers squad. But Miss Marvel can generate energy. She's a pretty decent tank, and she has all those assisted attacks, which is really nice, especially when we just need to be able to get in some additional attacks in. Spider-Man Miles Morales is another good one because he can have that turn meter reduction with his Venom Shock special, but as well as applying disruption when needed, especially if there's tanks. As you can see, he's one of the few that's not upgraded to G16 just because I actually didn't bring him into Dark Dimension 5 with me. And then last but not least, we do bring on Scarlet Spider here for the additional negative conditions, applying defense down, and as well as passive no responsibility, having that synergy, giving additional health to Web Warriors if they are present within the team, even outside of raids. So there you guys have it. Those are the characters I've utilized in the videos. So that for reference. Now let's dive right into the gameplay. Starting things here with difficulty 4, you can see that's the combination I have right now. The 5 being Squirrel Girl, Scarlet Spider, Miles Morales, Miss Marvel, and as well as Ghost Spider. So start things off, guys. I gotta say, without a doubt, I don't believe any full team synergies like Web Warriors is gonna work for this, just because we're mixed in with a lot of different enemies that we're up against, and they hit really hard, as you'll see. So I got the RNG just right at the beginning here, where I applied disruption to Bishop. That way we can actually do a double strike on him. And the main reason why we want this synergy is because Miles Morales, Miss Marvel, and Squirrel Girl, they all have the Young Avengers team synergy with this attack. So at the beginning here, you do want to ability block Phoenix like I did there, because that prevents her from cleansing and stripping away these negative conditions. We took out Bishop because of the damage right away, and right after all those abilities are used, you do want to save your attacks, especially for the next wave here. This heal right now, we go ahead and use it right away, even though we were already pretty close to HP, because this next wave does hit quite hard. Taking down Phoenix right away is a priority, because you're going to see that we're up against magic. So that's why we do take the surrounding enemies down first. Leave Groot and Scream if you can, because they're not an issue if we leave them around. And taking down Phoenix is definitely the priority. After using Squirrel Girl's ability there to heal, definitely use Miss Marvel's ultimate to her abilities, just to get that energy back if you can, right? And this next wave is where it's going to get dangerous, because we do leave the Scream handy there. And again, she doesn't do a lot of damage, but because of that synergy with Carnage, this is where it can be risky. Cersei is extremely powerful as well, but you're going to see that we're not going to focus on her just yet. Starting things off, we got Squirrel Girl applying offense down. So try to save that ability from the first wave. Try not to use it. But the key priority target in this wave as well is actually the Carnage, because of the speed meter he can get from taking us down. So you almost have to get a little bit lucky here in the attacks, because you can see Miles gets stunned by Cersei. So it worked for us because we don't really use him too much. And then you want to go ahead and just keep targeting Cersei here because of how powerful she is. And you just don't want her coming on to the last and final wave that we're up against here. And that's another reason that we take down Phoenix. Sorry, I messed that up. It wasn't magic. It was Colossus. Colossus is part of this wave, and having that synergy with Phoenix is extremely dangerous. So that's why we go ahead and do that. And you can see at the moment Colossus taunts. There's honestly not much we can do, even with the high skirmishers we have. Even with the ability to actually disrupt and take away strip boss with buffs, we don't have a chance, because Colossus' resistance is so high for specifically this this mode. So all we can do is really just kind of attack him and wait for the taunt to subside, and hopefully by then you guys will at least taking down 1 or 2 enemies before he taunts, so that way you can actually just soak up the damage here. So as you can see, we're doing really good work here on Colossus. Even with his taunt, his HP is almost, you know, down to 0, so that's exactly what we want. His taunt goes off, which is great, and now once again we resume attacking. We completely ignore everyone else and just focus on Cersei, because of the fact that she just does so much damage. And again, if she comes into the next wave, you'll see why we can't have her in the next wave. But afterwards, guys, please feel free to finish off Carnage. Rocket Raccoon's also squishy, but we don't take them down at the beginning, because when you take down too many enemies at first, it's 7 out of 13. The last and final wave spawns, and you'll see why. There's a Shuri here mixed in with another Cersei, and as well as having Miko and Minoru. So I mean, just having all of them together, and Anti-Venom being able to revive, it's just a lot, right? So we go ahead, we clean up, we finish off Colossus. Cersei number 1 is down now, and we can actually go ahead and start kind of planning out how we're gonna do this. So I opted the ability block Cersei number 2, because we just don't want her cleansing, and even if it just buys us a turn of time to take down some of these enemies, that is really the hope here. But yeah, this second wave is gonna be dangerous. You're gonna have to wait and see in how Miko's attack did to her team. You know, she could wipe you, she could, you know, get some bad RNG there, but overall it should just be some negative conditions hitting our team. And then following that up here at this point, it should just be this 5 left, mainly a bunch of healers with Miko and as well as Cersei, right? So, you know, goes without saying, Cersei was the one we took down in the last wave to prioritize, but we're actually going to leave her around because she's got that cleanse, and afterwards with that stun and cleanse, she can't really do much damage, but it's just the combination of the Cerseis in this wave would have been really detrimental to us. So we're going to go ahead and just take down what we can. In this case, you're going to find that Anti-Venom's probably going to revive someone back, and that's also another reason why ideally you want to have Scream down before Carnage, because if he's going to revive anyone, it might as well be Scream before Carnage, just because Scream I would opt to take down just because she's squishy and she doesn't have the turn meter increase like Carnage, right? And so you'll find in this wave, once you get down to these 5, there's a revive. You can take down Groot. This is a pretty good place to be, because overall these guys actually don't do too much damage, and Miko is pretty squishy as well. So you want to focus on Scream and Miko, taking them down, and you're going to be in a pretty good spot. After these 2 are down, that is pretty much their damage dealers. They just have a bunch of healers lying around. So I think that's going to be the tricky issue. I think with these new challenges, a lot of players just try to use their you know, their team synergies like Web Warriors and so forth, but fact of the matter is that they're not enough sustained to go through all these different enemies. So I think that's going to be the hardest part, just kind of rewiring your mindset in terms of which bio characters can be used. But yeah, those 2 go down, and that leaves us now with just healers, Anti-Venom, Shuri. So we go ahead, we opt to finish Anti-Venom. He's the least reworked character, right? So and then at this point, Shuri is squishier than Cersei, so we go ahead and focus on her next. And we're in a pretty good spot, guys. We're in a pretty good spot. Like, at this point, pretty smooth sailing. You don't need to care about saving abilities, because these challenges don't translate to the next node. So go ahead, use all the abilities you want. But yeah, the focus will be finishing off Shuri, and at that point, it's just Cersei, and by herself, she can't do much. Fortunately, they didn't bomb us with Icarus in these nodes, so that's nice. At least they took it easy in that sense. But definitely one of the harder challenges we've seen as of late, because of just because of how these guys are built with all these new characters. And yeah, it was definitely a challenge for sure. Took me a few tries, so it might take you guys a few tries. Even if this attack order is able to help you guys, I hope it does, because like I said, I think maybe just getting that down is sometimes half the battle of who to prioritize and who to take down. And even then, if you guys follow it to a T, it's probably going to be a little bit of luck, and maybe one of your characters go down. But also, guys, a reminder, because this is the difficulty 4, don't feel like you need to get the 3-star here like I showed on video, because I was just trying to capture this for those of you wanting to get that, and that's as far as you can go. But if you remember, we just need to focus on difficulty 5, because that's going to be the one that has more resources and materials. And once we get the 3-star on difficulty 5, that'll be the other one there. So yeah, let's go ahead now. Now for this mode, I actually did swap out Scarlet Spider for Phyla-Vell, and you guys will see why. We do need some tankiness, some additional cleansing and barrier, and I found that Phyla-Vell Likely folks will have her built up with the Infinity Watch, still being a really top tier team in the game. But you're going to see what's interesting about this node initially is a little bit of luck involved, but you can use Ghost Spider to actually ability block Invisible Woman. It's going to go a very, very long ways. And then start applying some pressure on both the Spider Woman as well as Loki. They're both pretty squishy, but the next wave does come up really, really quick, so that's why you got to be mindful of it. We got 5 level now, and you can see there's a couple of ability blocks on us, so I go ahead, I use her special, wipes out Loki there, and it actually gives us a little bit of a barrier in anticipation of some damage coming. So that's why it's nice to have Phyla, just because she's also got some offense down going on and some good stats. So now she gets ability block, not a big deal though. The priority now is taking down and finishing off Invisible Woman. We just don't want them getting the defense up and the barriers, and you know, Invisible Woman is really, really good for that, you'll see. So save the heal right there, like Spider, well, having my Squirrel Girl using the heal to cleanse and give us all an HP boost here. And what I like about Bring On Miles is because he does have that natural stealth, so even if he's stunned and so forth, he's got a little bit of protection, which is nice. But yeah, unfortunately, if Sif taunts, you're just gonna have to get through her. Can't really do much, kind of like the last difficulty here where we were up against the Colossus. You really have to get through it or cleanse it, and which we do in this case now. Good time to use Miss Marvel's ultimate, get some energy back. And at this point, enemies that should be lower on the HP here should be Spider-Woman, Sif if she used her taunt. So those are definitely the ones we want to get out of the way. But keep in mind too, again, similar to the last difficulty, these last waves do drop quite frequent, and they drop as well as preemptively. So just keep that in mind when you're doing damage accordingly. So we do want to leave characters like She-Hulk. We want to prioritize taking down like characters like Falcon, because he's got that devastating ultimate ability. He's got that special as well, which makes it really hard for us to you know, the turn meter that they get for the team is really huge, right? So I go ahead, I use the ability lock on Thor, just because I noticed he didn't use a stun yet, so I definitely would slow us down. But now a great time to use Phyla's damage, and you can see how powerful she really is. And these enemies, thankfully, aren't the tankiest, but still very, very powerful. Now, last wave finally spawns here, and we can actually use Miles to actually cleanse the offense up from Taskmaster. So that's really key, guys, because if he gets off his abilities there with the blind, it's gonna hurt, especially with the offense up. And finally, we use Ghost Spider's ultimate there to actually spread the negative conditions, and we're looking pretty good. We gotta just take down the damage dealers here, and keep in mind, guys, these guys still hit really hard. Look at that Electro, wiping out 50% of the HP of most of our team members. So just keep that in mind, and still very dangerous. How powerful these guys are. We're gonna turn Rewind now. Ant-Man, just because he's got the defense down, so it just gives us some additional damage there. So even right now, I wouldn't drop your guard, just because these guys can still wipe out 1 or 2 of our characters, and if that's the case, then we won't be able to get the 3-star, right? So I would personally leave She-Hulk at the very end. The offense down landed on her thanks to Squirrel Girl, and Electro is the squishiest here, so I would recommend taking her down with Ant-Man before She-Hulk. So go ahead there, you can see the damage, and now it's a pretty no-brainer, right? You know, Ant-Man's got the defense down too. It just makes sense to take him out first, and after he uses abilities, it's even better. We got the retaliation from Ghost Spider, and there we have it. So very, very tight, guys. This one definitely did take me quite a few more tries than the last difficulty, just because, man, these guys just hit so hard, and you got to be careful with the synergy. So there you guys have it. 3-star unlock of difficulty 4, difficulty 5. For the bio sections. I do plan to do this for the rest of the week for all the other challenges, so stay tuned, guys. Thank you as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.